Hi guys, welcome to this session. And we are doing a session on CAT, of course. And in this session, we are basically going ahead with the discussion of the CAT papers. And before I start there, wanted to inform you about the Unacademy Plus subscription model, where you get to study from top educators, 20 plus top educators teaching you on an Academy Plus, which includes me. I also teach some of my courses on an Academy Plus live. And all courses are live and structured courses, and every teacher, every educator will come up with new courses every month and and lessons on all the areas you want to you name the area in CAT prep. You want to prepare for quants, data interpretation, reasoning, whatever area you want to prepare for, verbal ability, and on to top that you have weekly quizzes and doubt clearing and all those things. In case you are interested, and there are subscriptions available for 1 month, 6 months, as well as 12 months. So you can choose which subscription you want to take. And not only are these videos live every day for you, or they are available live every day for you, but also you have access to those videos after they are finished. So you can actually revise, review, and you'll have access to those videos for almost 2 years, actually 2 years from the time that you subscribe to it, right? So if a course is launched in March 2019, you'll have access to that video till 2021, 2 years later. So please look this up, and if you're interested in getting a subscription and you want a 10% discount, you can use my referral code. The referral code is Arun Sharma. You can use that referral code there. Arun Sharma, remember that referral code. You can use this to get your Unacademy Plus subscription. You'll get a 10% discount in case you use that referral code. Right. So in this lesson, we are talking about in this the third lesson in this series where I'm doing CAT questions from the 2018 CAT paper and slot 2. And just to reiterate, this is basically quantitative aptitude of slot 2 of CAT 2018. And just to reiterate a point I made in my first couple of sessions also, why is CAD 18 an important landmark for CAD preparation, especially in the quantitative aptitude section? The reason for that is not hard to find. The quality and the depth, the quality and the depth of questions that were asked in CAD 2018 kind of tested you for the highest level of it tested you for the highest possible level of awareness and skill in your development of so the highest skill levels were tested on every chapter. So it's a good thing to do when you're preparing yourself for the CAT 2019. It's a good thing to look at the CAT 18 paper and look at every chapter, every chapter. So if you look at the, let's say, the interest chapter or the functions chapter or the inequalities chapter, look at every chapter and see the level of skill they have taken you to, the level at which they have tested you, and plan your preparation on each chapter with that in mind, right? Don't underboil your preparation. Don't prepare only till this level. There's a mistake a lot of people made in the last year's prep process. Make sure that you prepare to the level which CAD 18 gave you. And when you talk about Cat 19 can have three possible outcomes. It can have three possible outcomes with respect to where it goes in terms of the difficulty level compared to the CAD 18 paper. And that is, it remains the same, it comes down one level, or it comes down two levels. Obviously, there is no possibility of the CAD 19 paper going a higher level given the kind of paper it was in CAD 18. So there are three possibilities for CAD 19. And when you're preparing, you need to make sure that all your bases are covered. All the three bases are covered for you. So if it remains at this level, it should be an advantage for you. If it comes down one level, it should be an advantage for you. If it comes down two levels and it becomes a speed test like the CAT 17 paper was, it should be an advantage for you. Your preparation should be such that whatever it does, whichever level it goes to, you should have an advantage in your prep should make sure that you have an advantage. So we have done some of these questions in the last session. So I'll pick up from the questions where we have not done this. And this is a question we did not do in the last session. So what I want you to do is first try this question on your own. Try this question on your own before I come up with a solution to this question. I'll give you a minute or two, maybe 2 minutes to think about this question. Assume that you are sitting in the cat and you're trying to solve this question. Use your knowledge of geometry, whatever you know about geometry, to try to get through this. And you can try to give me an answer on the chat if you get it. Yeah, does anybody have an answer to this? Yeah, no one? Let's try to look at this question. The question says that we have a chord of length 5 centimeters and that chord subtends an angle of 60 degrees at the center of the circle, of a circle. So you have to think of a circle. Let me try to draw a circle as well as PowerPoint allows me to do. We have this circle and the center of the circle is here and you have this chord which is of length 5 centimeters. and this is subtending an angle of 60 degrees at the center. Now there are some reactions that you can have with respect to this piece of information. And you know that this is the radius of the circle because that is the center. So before you read on, there is some information that you can actually take out. And that information essentially is that if I draw that circle again, and this angle is 60 degrees, and this base is 5. So if I drop a perpendicular from the top to the base, the perpendicular will do two things. It will bisect the base into two parts of 2.5 each. It will bisect the base into two parts of 2.5 each. And the other thing this perpendicular will do is that it will bisect the angle into two angles of 30 each. And since these angles are 30 each, and this is a 90-degree angle, it means that this angle is going to be 60. Now we know about the 30, 60, 90 triangle, that any 30, 60, 90 triangle has the property, any 30, 60, 90 triangle has the property that the side opposite 30, if it is x, the side opposite 60 would be x root 3, and the side opposite 90 would be 2x. So in this situation, since we know that 2.5 is the side opposite 30, we can make out that the radius, which will be the side opposite 90 in this case, the radius would be 5. And both these radii, obviously the radii will be same, so both these lengths would be 5. So we realize at this point, with this reaction, we realize that the length of the radius of the circle is 5 units. Now next the question asks us, what is the length in centimeters of a chord that subtends an angle of 120 degrees at the center of the same circle? So if I have a chord, next, if I have a chord, let's say we draw this chord on the other side, and this chord is subtending an angle of 120 degrees at the center. This means that if I drop the perpendicular on this chord, on this side, and since this will also be the radius is going to be 5 here also, then this perpendicular will be 90 degrees. This angle, the perpendicular will bisect this angle to 60, and this angle would be 30. So the side opposite 30 will be half the hypotenuse based on this logic, 2x and x. If you know the side opposite 30 as x, we find the hypotenuse is 2x. If we know the hypotenuse is 2x, we can find the side opposite 30 as x. So the side opposite 30, this side, would be 2.5, And since this side is 2.5, half the length of this chord will be root 3 times 2.5. So half the length of the chord would be 2.5 root 3, and hence the total length of the chord would end up as 5 root 3. So option 4 is the correct answer for this. And this was based on the knowledge of the 30, 60, 90 triangle and the knowledge that a perpendicular drawn from a center of a circle to a chord bisects the subtending angle as well as bisects the chord. So this was the first question for today. Not too difficult if your geometry is good. So if you try to analyze what level of geometry you need for this, maybe if you've done 200 250 odd questions, this should do it for you. This is the next question which I want you to think of. And again, I'll give you 2 minutes to think about this before I solve it for you. And if anyone of you has an answer, please feel free to chat and type. I'm looking forward to receiving answers from you for this. Yeah. So do you have an answer to this? Hi Shubham, welcome to the session. The question is talking about 5x. See, this is a question whose structure has been used many times in the CAT. If you look through your last 10 15 years of CAT paper, you'll find this structure being used at least 3 4 times. Let's see what the question is talking about. Fx is a function which is the maximum between these two, 5x and 52 minus 2x squared, where x is any positive real number. So we are talking about these two functions for x greater than 0. So we don't need to consider the graphs of these functions. These kind of questions are solved graphically. We don't need to consider the value of x on the y-axis or to the left of the y-axis. We only bothered about these two graphs on the right of the y-axis, right? And then for obviously for x equals 0, we know that this 5x will be 0. And we typically know that the 5x graph will be a straight line with a slope of 5. So that's how the 5x graph is going to go to the right of the x-axis, to the right of the y-axis. Now what about the 52 minus 2x square graph? Now this graph, let me maybe I'll infringe it here. Let's say this graph is going to have a value of 52 at x equals 0. And at x equals 1, this value is going to be 50. And at x equals 2, this value is going to be 44. At x equals 3, the value is going to be 34, and so on. So this graph is basically a reducing graph. And since we know that the coefficient of x square is negative, we know that the shape of such graphs is always the inverted U graph. So this graph is basically coming down, not in this fashion, but in this concave fashion. And it'll come down and somewhere intersect the 5x line, and it'll keep coming down. So for example, we know that at x equals 6, we can clearly see that at x equals 6, 52 minus 2x square will go negative. So this crossing is somewhere between 5 to 6. That much we can see for this graph right at this point. This crossing is going to happen somewhere between 5 to 6. Right? Now, when you look at the fx function, the fx function is basically the max of these two functions. Right? Which means that if you think about that, you realize that to the left of this intersection point, this is the intersection point of these two graphs. This is the intersection point of these two graphs. This is the intersection points of these two graphs. And when you look at fx to the left of the intersection point, fx will be traveling on this quadratic graph. Fx will stick on the quadratic graph because between these two graphs, the quadratic graph is higher. And to the right of this intersection point, fx will take the straight line. Fx will take the straight line, the 5x straight line. So if you want to find the lowest value of this function, the lowest value of this function is going to happen. Oops. I need to draw that whole thing again. Okay, so let's just focus on, let's say we are drawing this quadratic and this straight line. So as I said, the graph of fx will be traveling on the quadratic before the intersection point and above the on the straight line after the intersection point. So if you want the least value, the minimum possible value of fx, you want the least value of fx, that is going to be at the lowest point of this red line and that's going to essentially happen at the intersection point. And hence, to solve this question, what you need to do is you need to find on the x-axis the value of this intersection point, and the logic that goes there is that intersection point between two graphs is got by equating the two graphs. So we equate 5x with 52 minus 2x square. We equate the two, and once you equate the two, you will get a quadratic equation which is 2x square minus 5x plus 52 equals 0. And when you solve that quadratic equation, minus b 5 plus minus under root b square minus 4ac (25). Sorry, this will be minus 52. I made a mistake there. This will come out as minus 52. So 25 plus 4ac, 4 times 2 into 52. The minus of this and the minus of the 4ac will become plus. So we have divided by 2a divided by 4. So we find we have to find the value of the intersection point, and that is 5 plus minus under root 441 by 4 and the square root of 441 is 21, and so you have two roots. One is 5 plus 21 divided by 4, or 5 minus 21 divided by 4. Now 5 plus 21 divided by 4 will end up becoming a positive value. 5 minus 21 divided by 4 will end up becoming a negative value. Let me just check whether I've done this correct. We've equated 5x is equal to 52 minus 2x square. When we equated that, we got 2x square. Oops, I made this a mistake here. Plus 5x minus 52 equals 0. So the roots minus b is minus 5 here. Minus 5 plus minus under root b square minus 4ac. So that's minus 5 here. So this is minus 5 and this is again minus 5. Now we reject this because the question says that we are talking about x as a positive real number. X has to be positive. So the roots of this, the root we select is x equals 4. And at x equals 4, if you use it on 5x, the value is 20. If you use it on 52 minus 2x square, also the value is 20. And hence the minimum possible value of fx is 20. And it happens at x equals 4. So that's the answer to this question. Now this is a question, or this structure of question has been asked many times in the CAT. And see the difficulty in doing this, because under pressure you're solving this. There's so much chance of getting a plus minus here or there off. And this was the difficulty. The intricateness, the difficulty was not in the CAT, it was not in the fact that the questions were new completely. The difficulty was in the fact that that people, the intricateness of the solutions, you had to take care of so many things while doing a solution. So even if you knew this logic, the question did not give you the answer unless you executed these steps. And under time pressure, there was a lot of possibility of getting these things wrong. Right? So that's how the answer would be. right? So let's come back to the next question. Try this one. Again, an interesting question for you. Yeah, hi Shubham. I can see your chats. Try this question now. I'm again giving you 2 minutes to do this. Yeah, Shravan, I'll be doing that very soon. Have a look at this question first. So the question says the arithmetic mean of xyz is 80. So that means that the sum of xyz is 240. First reaction. And that of xyz, u and v, the arithmetic mean of xyz, u and v is 75. So that means x plus y plus z plus u plus v is 375. And from these two, you realize first reaction is that u plus v must be 135. The value of u plus v must be 135. And then they tell you that the value of u is x plus y by 2 and the value of v is y plus z by 2. So the natural reaction here is that if I use that information for u plus v, I will get x plus y by 2 plus y plus z by 2 is equal to 135. I've just replaced u and v. I've just replaced u and v from the equation and put it here. When I do that, I will get x plus 2y x plus 2y plus z is equal to 270. And if I compare this equation with the first one, I would immediately get an outcome that the value of y is 30. The value of y is 30. And if the value of y is 30, if the value of y is coming out 30, then it means that the value of x plus z is 210. The value of x plus z would be 210. And with this value of x plus z, the question is asking is x is greater than or equal to z, then what is the minimum possible value of x? So if x is greater than z, outcomes for x plus z start from 210 and 0, 209 and 1, and there's no mention of being an integer, so it can be 209.9 and zero point 0.1 also. But if I want to minimize the value of x, I will have to come to an equal distribution of 210, which is 105 each. So if I go to 105 each, we'll get an outcome of 210. And this is the minimum value because you cannot take x below 105, because the moment you go to 104.99, z will become larger, which is not possible because the problem says that x is greater than or equal to z. So the value of this question will be 105. The answer to this question will be 105. Right? Let's look at the next question now. And again, you have 2-3 minutes. A very brilliant question. Stumped almost everybody in the cat. Have a look at this. Take around 2-3 minutes, 2 minutes for doing this. Think about the question. I'll show you the solution of this. Try the question before I come up with the solution for this. Okay, so let's try this question. I hope you have tried this now. Let's try this question. What's happening in this question? So if you look at this question, I've given you around 2-3 minutes for solving it, and I hope you have tried this properly because this is a very brilliant question. A lot of things to learn from this question. So what does the question say? The question says that the strength of a salt solution is p% if 100 ml of the solution contains p grams of salt. Fine, that's okay. That's a neutral statement, not much to talk about here. If three salt solutions A, B, C are mixed in the proportion 1 is to 2 is to 3, then the resulting solution has a strength of 20%. Now, when you look at this, what it means basically is that when you look at this, what it means basically is that if you're mixing ABC, let's say the strength of A is A, the strength of B is B, and the strength of C is C, right? So when you're mixing them in the ratio 1 is to 2 is to 3, it means you're mixing 1 unit of A, so you'll get A grams of salt. You're mixing 2 units of B, so you'll get 2B grams of salt. And you're mixing 3 units of C, so you'll get 3C grams of salt. And this has an average strength of 20%. We are assuming that the percentage for concentration for A is A%, B is B%, and C is C%. So if I divide this by 6, this should be equal to 20 because this 20% is the weighted average of 1, 2, 3. Right? This 20% is the weighted average of 1, 2, 3. So that then means that we get an expression A plus 2B plus 3C equals 120. And this is the first equation in this question. Right? The question further says, if instead the proportion is 3 is to 2 is to 1, then the resulting solution has strength 30%. So this will give you 3A, looking at through the same logic, 3A plus 2B plus C is equal to 180. So you have these two equations, A plus 2B plus 3C. One equation is A plus 2B plus 3C is equal to 120. And 3A plus 2B plus C is 180. Now the question stops there and simply asks you that a fourth solution D is created by mixing B and C in the ratio 2 is to 7. What is the ratio of the strength of D to that of A? So in this case, what has to happen now is that you need to realize that you have 3 unknowns and only 2 equations in this question. Which means whenever you have more unknowns than equations, it basically means that you are in a multiple possibility situation. You are in a situation where there are multiple possibilities, and hence what you start doing is you start transforming these equations by trying to find out a relationship first between, now you're mixing B and C, so you need to first find a relationship between A and C. When you do that, you can subtract the second equation from the first and you'll get 2A The B will get cancelled. 28 minus 2C is equal to 60, and that means that A minus C, that means that A minus C must be A minus C must be 30. This is the first outcome between A and C that we have, which also then means that C is 30 plus A minus 30. The value of C is A minus 30. We know that also from here. The value of C is A minus 30. Right? Now, the same two equations can again be used to get a relationship between A and B. Now, why we are doing this is the vision that the problem is asking that D is formed using B and C in this ratio. And then you want the ratio of strength of D to strength of A. So if you can somehow convert, and you will need to somehow convert D into its strength in the context of A, only then will you get a ratio. Otherwise, you will not get a ratio. And since there's no cannot be determined, it is very evident here to somebody who is a good solver that this must be this would the elimination of B and C by changing them to into A will actually lead to a solution here, because there's no none of these in the options here. So the next thing you do is you try to find a relationship between A and B, right? Because now we have reached a point in this problem that, but again, you should imagine how much work you will be required to do here. And this is what created the problems it did for people giving the CAT this year. So anyway, coming back, the next step, what has to be done in this question? So when you mix B and C in the ratio 2:7, you are mixing 7 times A minus 30 here. You're mixing 7 times A minus 30 when you're mixing the C. So that is why you're now thinking about getting a relationship between A and B, because when you mix B also, if you can think about B also in terms of A, then you'll get D in terms of A. And once you get D in terms of A, you can get a relationship between D and A. So let's try to find a relationship between A and B. For that, we'll have to eliminate C. And to eliminate C, I'll have to multiply this by 3. And so I'm basically at 9A plus 6B plus 3C is equal to 540. And when I subtract this from that, I'll get 8A. 9A minus A is 8A. Plus, now I have 6B here, and we are doing minus 4B, minus 2B here. So we have 8A plus 4B plus 4B, and the C is eliminated, is equal to 540 minus 120, which is 420. And then if I divide by 4, I'll get 2A plus B is equal to 105. Which means that the value of B must be 105 minus 2A. The value of B must be 105 minus 2A. So now when you start mixing B and C in the ratio 2:7, 2B will mean 210 minus 4A, that's basically 2 times this value, 2B will be that, and 7C, as we've already written here, is going to be 7 times A minus 30, which is going to be 7A minus 210, and the concentration of this liquid or this mixture, that is D, is going to be this divided by 9, because you're mixing B and C in the ratio 2:7. So this is going to be divided by 9 to get that concentration. So when you calculate the value of this, you realize that the 210 cancels out, and you have 3A by 9, which is A by 3. This is the concentration of D. So if you want the concentration of D to A, the ratio of strength of D to A, the ratio of strength of D to A will be A by 3 divided by A, where the A will obviously cancel itself out, and hence the answer will be 1 by 3. So the correct answer here is option 1, which is 1:3. Fine, let's do one last question for today, and we'll stop with this. We have a little bit more time to do one last question. Let's do this. So I hope you have tried to do this question. Let's try to solve this. This question is talking about a 20% ethanol solution is mixed with another ethanol solution, say S, of unknown concentration in the proportion 1:3 by volume. The mixture is then mixed with an equal volume of 20% ethanol solution, and the resultant mixture is a 31.25% ethanol solution. Now what should be obvious to you is that S as a percentage has to be more than 31.25, because if S is less than 31.25 then percent, then mixing 20 and 20 and S cannot feasibly give you a 31.25% outcome. So the value of S must be 31.25. So what you do in this question first is that you're mixing, and you use alligation here. You can read about alligation from my books. You're mixing a 20% ethanol solution with S% ethanol solution in the ratio 1:3. right? Or you could also do this from using the simple weighted average formula. But let's first do this way. So you're mixing them in the ratio 1:3. You're getting a solution whose concentration you do not know because you do not know S. And then, so you're getting this solution of a concentration which you do not know. But you also know that you're getting 4 units of this concentration. And then this concentration, which you're getting here, is mixed with an equal volume of 20% solution. That means you're mixing 4 of an unknown outcome. This is the unknown outcome, and S is also unknown. You're mixing 4 units of this unknown outcome with 4 units of 20% because the question here talks about an equal volume. It talks about an equal volume. So you're mixing 4 units of 20% and 4 units of this to get 31.25%. And that means that this value must be 42.5% because this ratio of mixing is 1:1. This value must be 42.5%. And if this value is 42.5% and you're mixing S with 20% in the ratio 1:3 to get 42.5%, again you can use alligation to get this as 50%. Alternately, you could have simply solved this with 20 into 1 plus 3 into S plus 20 into 4 divided by 8 equals 31.25. This would be obviously an easier solution to this, equals 31.25. So if you solve this equation, there's only one unknown here, which is the S that is here. So you'll be able to get S as 50 for this. And that's the alternate solution for this question. Right, so I'll be back with more very soon in our series of lectures on YouTube, on Unacademy, on the Unacademy channel, and I'll be back with more very soon. So I hope you enjoyed the session and you learned from the questions we did today. And next time, more questions for you from the CAT 18 paper. Bye bye now. Goodbye.